Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys an update to my Nordic Aesir deck profile. This is actually going to be a adventure token Aesir deck profile, so really cool, changing it up a little bit. It's been very popularized over the last sort of like year or two. People have been messing around with this, or probably even since the adventure package came out. Shout out to my buddy Cole. Who's really big on this deck. So without any further ado, let's get on into the profile. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you guys haven't already. And if you guys didn't know, we do have a side series over on the Patreon called The Graveyard, where I go over cards that I used to have in the deck and then I have since eliminated, or even like new support cards that just didn't make the cut. I already have recorded the video for this deck for the Graveyard, so if you guys want to sort of see the cards that got cut that did not make it into the deck profile, and sort of my theory on why you guys shouldn't be playing those. If there's cards that you think like, hey, why aren't you playing this in Nordics? It's probably going to be included in that video. So anyways, let's get on into the profile. So we're playing 3 copies of the Nordic Beast Ghoul and Bursty. This card is just perfect for the deck, being able to when it's summoned, you're able to target a Nordic in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, which is really great. And then also being able to substitute itself for any of the Nordic tuners is also just really great. Sort of is like the bread and butter for what the deck wants to do now. Then we are going on into 3 copies of the Nordic Smith Ivaldi. This card being able to special summon itself from the hand and then being able to search for your trap card, or just really any of your Nordic Relic cards, is also really great for the deck. So this is a definite 3 of for the deck. Getting on then into the next 3 of the Alvis of the Nordic Alfar. This is a card that we got, what was this, back in Soul Fusion. So this card's been around for quite a bit since the Link monster was printed as well. But this card really insane for the deck, because when this card gets banished by your Nordic Link monster, it's able to send to the graveyard 1 Nordic monster you control, and then also 2 Nordic monsters from your deck, and then go into another Aesir synchro summon, which is really cool. Just overall, just a really nice card for the deck. Then its other effect, I was sort of forget. If an Aesir monster in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, banish this card from the graveyard to special summon another Aesir with a different name from the different cards in your graveyard. So again, just being able to cheat out your Aesir monsters, it's kind of what the deck has to do, because getting into the Aesirs is overall just kind of difficult. So we kind of got to cheese it out as best as we can. Then getting on just into some different levels, we have 3 copies of Tangjoster, or sorry, 2 copies of Tangjoster. This card just overall really great. Just sending to the graveyard for a level 3. You're not really using its effect for like battling. You're just basically playing it in the deck as a 3. Then for a level 2, we're playing 1 copy of Valkyrie of the Nordic Ascendant. This card, being able to use this to banish to be able to get back your Odin is just really great. But its effect does come up every now and then when it's normal summoned. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no other cards, you get to banish 2 Nordics from your hand, special summon 2 tokens, and then you go straight into your Aesir monsters. So you could play this at a couple higher copies, but since we are playing the adventure package, it's going to hurt our normal summon effects, so we don't really want to play any cards that have big normal summon conditions. Then we're playing 1 copy of Vanitas. It's basically the Nordic Ascendant version of your Ghoul and Bursty, being able to utilize itself for any of the Nordic tuners. So that's really cool. And then it allows level modulation. So that's where you can sort of send some of these guys from the deck in case you need to alter her level. And then 1 copy of Mara. Mara's probably like the worst monster in your deck. But overall, she's still pretty good, because it's just nice to have this in the deck as a Nordic Alfar tuner. So you got to have this in the graveyard if you want to be able to get your Loki back, if you're playing up against one of those big trap decks. Then we're going to be going on into 3 copies of Kashtira Fenrir. This is a card that probably a couple people cut here and there, but in my opinion, you definitely want to be playing it. This deck has a really hard time breaking boards, just because if your opponent has enough interruption and whatnot, you're just not going to be able to like break through. So playing this card at 3 copies allows you to break boards a little bit easier. And then when you're going first and just trying to do that Gulvig play, when you have to banish cards from your hand or field, it's just just really nice to be able to get Fenrir out, maybe banish something, and he gets his search, banishes something eventually, possibly. You're going to have that extra copy of Fenrir in your hand, and then Gullveig is going to be able to like banish that to get extra advantage. This card just being able to break boards and get that hand advantage is so important. Then we're going to get on into the adventure package. So I've kind of been breaking this up by package, but we're just going to do the full adventure package run right here. So 3 copies of Water Enchantress. Don't really need to explain this card too much, but just a very, very great card. We're playing 1 copy of the Wandering Griffin Rider just to be able to get our extra like negates and stuff out there. Just really great. And again, just another card that you get to like basically add to hand and or put on the field and just have extra material to get rid of for your Gullveig. Then we're playing our 3 copies of Rite of Aesir, obviously important for the adventure package, and then our 1 copy of Fateful Adventure and our 1 copy of Draco back. Just all of this whole package just helps to help your Link monster get extra value. And then my favorite card of the deck, Hippo Carnival. Again, shout out. I can't even remember who got me on this card. This was like years ago already now, but whoever had the deck profile, who sort of like discovered Hippo Carnival, being able to break it with Gullveig is just absolutely insane. Because the condition on Gullveig is, the conditions on these cards is just so funny how these ones interact. But for those of you guys who don't know how this combo works, the way I'm just going to read it out loud because it's a little bit complicated, but if this card is link summoned, you can banish 3 cards from your hand and or field, and if you do, special summon that many Nordic monsters from your deck in defense position. Also, for the rest of this turn, you can't special summon monsters except for Aesir monsters, normal summon or set monsters. Okay, so we got that. Then Hippo Carnival, special summon 3 Hippo tokens. They can't be used as tribute material, or they can't be tributed, and you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck while the Hippo token is in the monster zone. So basically the way that this all works is you're going to activate Gullveig. Since Gullveig is just activated, it's sort of conditioned to lock you into only summoning Aesirs, has not been applied yet. So then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be chaining onto the effect with Hippo Carnival. Hippo Carnival is then going to resolve, giving you your 3 Hippo tokens. And then after that resolves, Gullveig is going to finish resolving, gets rid of your 3 Hippo tokens, and then you're basically getting free value, getting rid of all 3 of those and summoning out your 3 Nordics from the deck. This card in combination with Hippo Carnival is actually like kind of broken. It's the most broken thing that the deck does. So you kind of got to take your battles where you can get them because this deck just doesn't do much. So Hippo Carnival, got to be playing this card at 3. It's just insane when you draw it. Then we're playing our 1 copy of Called by the Grave just to be able to negate our opponent's stuff when they're trying to stunt our plays. We got to make sure that our Gullveig resolves, so we don't want to get impermed or ashed or anything like that. We're playing, well, I guess we can't stop Imperm, but Effect Veiler and stuff. We're playing 1 copy of Triple Tactics Thrust and 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. The rest of the spell cards you're going to be seeing here are all normal spells, so cards that we can search off of Thrust. Talent is just nice to be able to draw to maybe try to get to that Hippo Carnival or to get to our Rite of Aesir. There's just a lot of really great things that Thrust can do for this deck. We're playing 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity just because it's just another great way to dig for Hippo Carnival or any other cards that we really need at the moment. 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army. This card is in here to get to your Ivaldi. You guys probably notice I'm not playing the other one, the level 1. I think Deverg is his name. He's the other Nordic guy. I just cut him because I cut the Nordic relic cards except for one of them. So there's just no point in really playing him. Again, I covered all this stuff in that Graveyard episode on the Patreon. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is in here because it's really nice just to be able to like dump certain cards like possibly your Nordic Ascendant or other tuners into the graveyard. There's just a lot of really great stuff you can dump. Otherwise, you can dump your Water Enchantress, and that's going to search for your Rite of Aesir. So this card is just a huge consistency tool for the deck, or again, sending those tuners to the graveyard. That way you can help out your Aesirs as they go to the graveyard. One copy of Instant Fusion. This is a card that I don't see in a lot of other people's lists, but I feel like your deck is flexible to still play this one slot. So Instant Fusion is kind of in here for the same purpose as the Adventure package is, because you're just going to go Instant Fusion, summon Millenniumize Restrict, and then that is going to make it so your opponent like can't hit you with Nibiru. It's going to stop like Ash Blossom, whatever monster effects they're going to be trying to activate. And then if your opponent just doesn't activate anything, then what you can do is you can, you have the Instant Fusion, you have your Thousand Eyes Restrict on the field, and then when you go into Gulvig, you can just go ahead and get rid of it to summon out some tokens. So like either way, you're going to get a body. So Instant Fusion, again, like I said, it's just you're basically just getting out your Wandering Griffin Rider like right away, in my opinion. I'm not sure if everybody agrees with me, but I still think this is a really nice card to play here in the build. Then we're going to get on into 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. We're not playing the hand traps like Ash Blossom and Effect Veiler because we want to have as much hand advantage as we can with our Gulvig. So Imperm still like just really nice to have in here in case our opponent's going to be activating a card that like is going to banish or like send to graveyard with our Aesirs. We want them to get destroyed so they can come back. So if our opponent's hitting us with anything else, we're basically just playing Imperm as like a protect the castle kind of deck. But overall, we don't want to play too many hand traps. And then 1 copy of our Nordic Relics Fallen. This card is just insane, being able to negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent controls once per turn because it's a continuous trap. Absolutely insane. We're not playing any other Nordic Relic cards for Evaldi to search, but as long as you get that first search off and this card sticks, you're going to be sitting really, really good. So in my opinion, there's just not really need to play any like other cards. Then we're going to be getting on into our extra deck. So for the extra deck, sorry, I don't have 2 ulti copies. Please forgive me. I'll try to get it by the next profile. But we're playing 2 copies of Odin, Father of the Aesir, probably my favorite of the, my second favorite of the cards. We'll get to the next one. But yeah, Odin, just really insane, being able to make himself unaffected by the effects of spell and trap cards. The only downside is that at the moment, like, if Odin is using that effect, your opponent probably already just like is activating the trap cards and spell cards that are affecting him anyways, but still very, very cool card. I just think this one's like maybe a little antiquated, but if we get new support, I've already probably said it in another video, but I wholeheartedly believe that if we got new support for the Aesir cards, they would give us a card like Orchestrated Babel, which would just make all of the synchro cards quick effects during your opponent's turn. So if you could quick effect, make Odin unaffected by spell trap cards, it would actually make him pretty good. So we're playing our 2 copies of Odin here. We're playing 2 copies of Thor. Thor basically just being another copy of your Svalin card, just being able to negate the effects of your opponent's face-up monsters. Really, really cool. And he can do some burn damage if he comes back from the graveyard. And then lastly, for our 3rd guy, we're playing 1 copy of Loki. He doesn't come up too often, but still, you just got to play the full package. Lastly, this is kind of a bit of a rogue deck, so the only other synchro I wanted to play in here was going to be Black Rose Dragon, because if your opponent is playing a deck that just gets a ton of advantage and they're negating a bunch of your stuff, there are still ways that you can like get into Black Rose and just bomb your opponent's field and then maybe get some tempo back. For our Instant Fusion target, like I said, we're playing Millenniumize Restrict. Our 3 copies of Gulvig, like I said, this card is just insane for the deck. When it's pointing to your Aesir monster, so if you're sitting like this on your board, you guys can't see that. If you're sitting like this on the board, it's going to make it so the monster that it's pointing to can't be targeted by card effects. And then also while this is pointing at something, it can't be destroyed by battle. So this is getting battle protection. Your other guy is getting targeting protection. It's just really, really great. And then again, you have those imperms there to just try to like negate whatever else your opponent tries to activate to like blow up your board. Then just some other like cool cards. We're playing 1 copy of Masquerena, 1 copy of SP Little Knight. This deck is like fairly budget because now this card got reprinted. So very, very great that this card is accessible for this deck. 1 copy of our Nightmare Unicorn, just being able to bounce certain things. And then we're playing our little package of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World and Moon of the Closed World. You guys know I like to throw this in a lot of rogue decks, but this deck doesn't have like a ton of tools to be able to like remove certain things. We do have just huge bodies, like our main boss monster is 4,000 attack, so we should be able to get over a lot of things. But if your opponent has stuff that like can't be destroyed by battle, then Underworld Goddess might come in and save the day. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for today's deck profile. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Again, go ahead and check out the Patreon if you guys want to see that extra video, just sort of like an extended cut of the cards that I cut out of the deck. And otherwise, I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. This one is super duper cool to bring to your locals if you guys are playing like a scrub tournament, or even just try this like in your normal tempo advanced format. So let me know what you guys thought about this one. We'll catch you guys for the next profile. Peace.